Here I am. Thank you, everybody. I'm having a lovely time with you all, and for those that I haven't met, I'm sure I will have. I'm in this wonderful workshop.
Can you hear clearly? We're just going to give you more trouble with this. There you are.
I've got these amazing engines, and I've had a major overhaul in the last year, and they really are running very well.
Desire engines?
Yes.
Yeah.
However, and I'm having to keep up with my gorgeous wife. She's got this incredible, she's hot. So all of these things that I've learned, and one of my thing about my engines is I'm also a great mechanic, and I have the ability to look after other engines very well. But in the process, I let my engine run low. I now understand that, and I've done an incredible amount of work to bring myself up to this wonderful speed.
In fact, we're going to interrupt you just for a moment. We know you'll be able to hold your place. When you're worried or thinking about any other engines on any other track, you've stepped away from what really is your business, even if you live with them. If you really can just pay attention to what you're doing with your desire and what you're doing with your beliefs, if you're aware of that, then everything else will take care of itself. But you're making some really good points, because there are a whole lot of people looking at a whole other people with their tracks and their engines, and in doing so, they're not tending to your own. Really good point.
In amongst my wonderful, I'm a monster truck, I really am, and I'm going places, I really am. However, there is this little glitch in my system, and I believe this glitch is a deep-seated glitch, and it's the fear of abandonment. And I'm a fully grown fledged male, I have a lot of power, I'm a warrior, I see that I paved my own path, I paved my own destiny. But unfortunately, there has been a little child that on occasions has been left behind. And I'm doing my best to acknowledge that little child and love that little child, but I also want that little child to grow up and come up to where I am, so that I don't have that little child pulling at my shirt tails.
We began to interrupt you before you got too many engines piled on that end. And it's all right, because we knew that you wanted to explain it, because we want to say to you that there's no such thing as fear of abandonment. There's no such thing as fear of success. There's no such thing as fear of anything. It's just fear. And fear is focusing in opposition to desire, period. And so it's not uncommon when you have a desire that is very, very strong, when you've launched lots of rockets of desire and you've aligned and your vortex has gestated and you have been in the receiving mode and you have received the manifestation of what you want. When it is something that you really, 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 really want, then anytime you turn your attention in opposition to it, it feels strong. And you've been saying all the right things to make this analogy perfectly understood by you when you say, I'm a monster truck, I've got really strong engines, I have strong, strong, strong desire. Yes, you do. And anyone who has a strong desire, who then turns in opposition to the strong desire, has a jerky experience, and that experience you're calling fear. But this is something that we want you to hear, and you're really going to like this. This is going to bring you out of this uncomfortable experience that you are describing. Yes, you are a monster truck in terms of your desire. And yes, you do have strong momentum going. And if you occasionally throw another little engine on in opposition to this monster truck, wouldn't hinder you at all. You just drag it like Jerry and Esther dragged their car behind the monster bus. It's only when you spend quite a bit of time thinking about what you're worried about that the fear becomes a factor. And so when you're sensitive to the way you feel as you are, and you're able to acknowledge that I have fear of something, then what you're saying is, I apparently am giving a considerable amount of thought to the opposite of what I want. Don't you like knowing that? And don't you like knowing that it doesn't have anything to do with something that you need to be fearful about? It only has to do with the fact that you're thinking thoughts in opposition to your desire. Isn't that interesting to you?
Damn right.
I'm afraid. What are you afraid of? And it's easy to identify it, but the truth is, I'm feeling fear because I'm focused in opposition to my monster desire. No other reason. So you got to be asking, in fact, some of you are, well, Abraham, isn't there any real fear? Isn't there anything to really be fearful about? Split energy is as bad as it gets. That's what causes that tug of war. And then, of course, momentum about it. In other words, we understand that if you worry about something long enough, that it may then come into your experience, but there is no reason for that, because you have all this information coming to you in all these moments before. Just stop and recognize, I'm creating this, and 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 this, and this, and this, and I'm creating this, and I'm creating this, and 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 this. Or am I creating this and 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 this? This is going to be really hard to hear on the recording. This and this and this and this. What am I giving more information to? What I don't want or what I do want? That's all this conversation is about. You get to choose what airtime you give to what subject. That's all. Now, it feels like there are others involved in decisions. But now you've got your nose off your track and on theirs. And anytime you do that, you're in trouble, because you can't control what anybody else is doing. So when you say, I'm a really good mechanic, I like to get over there on all the other tracks and work on all the other engines, we say you're disempowering yourself. Tend to your own, tend to your own, tend to your own, tend to your own. Tend to your own tuning. Because what's in your vortex is real, it's valid, it's vivid, it's big, and it has powerful momentum. And when you focus there, you get that. End of story.
Hoorah.
Yeah.
I have become very good in being deceptive and understanding what other people want. And now, as I mentioned that earlier, and I've become very good at now understanding what I want. But one of the reasons I acknowledge that now is though I wouldn't feel as though I was abandoned. And one of the reasons I did that is because I acknowledged that in other people feeling good, they would see me and recognise me for someone who made them feel good. But now I also understand that I acknowledge and I want people to understand and love me for the gifts that I am.
Do you know that when you're looking for love in all the wrong places,
Sorry, repeat?
if you are looking for love in all the wrong places, it's a song that says so much. When you're looking for love in all the wrong places, then you are looking for it from a place that is not sustainable. And then you could be abandoned. You could be abandoned by parents who can't live as long as you do. You could be abandoned by a mate who doesn't live as long as you do. If you're looking for your security in any place other than your connection with your inner being, you might feel like you're let down. But if you're looking for it in this place where it always is, your inner being will never abandon you. Your inner being will never stop knowing you and loving you and flowing to you and through you. You see what we're getting at? And so once you understand that the feeling of abandonment isn't about somebody else going away, it's about you using that as the excuse to not resonate with your inner being. Whether you call it grief or fear or abandonment, no matter what you call it, it's not about what they did or didn't do. It's about you're using them as your excuse for what you're not doing, which is not syncing up with the source that is always there, who will never abandon you. There you have it.
I'm going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Really good? Enough?
Thank you.
Yeah, really good.